That Note with Parker Whirling.
Let me pull up my handy dandy notes on Mr. Levi Ransom, who's joining me today.
Hello.
On That Note.
Yes.
Thank you for coming all the way over here from Woodstock to Decatur.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Like I mentioned before, you're actually this is the first podcast I've ever been on.
Let's go.
I've tried to do some other things in the past, and it's never completely worked out. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
A lot of hype to live up to.
Yes.
Taking your podcast virginity over here.
Yes,
On That Note. That's
thank
right.
you.
And it could be you too if
Thank
you're
you.
watching this or listening to this. Yeah, I'm excited to have you on the pod. We were talking about having you on, and checked out your tunes. I really like it.
Thank
I love
Thank you so
your
much.
new song "Till It's Gone," which we'll talk about, as well as your album "Loverboy."
Yes.
I was getting a lot of cool like Imogen Heap references, or I don't know about reference, but influence from some of those songs. I really like the sample based pop.
Yeah.
That you've got
that's
going
a lot
on.
of what I live in, especially during this era. So, really love that sound. I feel like it fits me a lot, especially with what I'm writing. So it's kind of been a little safe haven for me, just sticking to this specific genre just for this season of music. So yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, we will get into that, but first I want to start with some not sample-based pop, which is Rubber Soul by the Beatles.
Oh yeah.
The album you chose from my collection to talk about here. What made this stand out for you?
So this is actually the first Beatles album that I actually really fell in love with. I grew up in a very conservative Christian household, so I wasn't able to listen to a lot of music that wasn't, kids music or like soundtracks to like the SpongeBob movie, or Christian music, or sometimes country music based on what my dad listened to.
Okay.
So I really didn't get into like music outside of that little bubble until about middle school. And then from there on, I just kind of deep dove into everything I could, because I was finally out of that bubble and just ready to explore everything music. And my buddy Slade, he is a big Beatles fan, and kind of pushed me into that realm. And I immediately, like most everybody, fell in love with these four dudes. But specifically this album, just something about it is very, very peaceful and calming. It's like in that between era of them moving away from all the 60s stuff into the 70s psychedelic kind of era. And I think it's just a very unique album. And my favorite song on the album is Norwegian Wood. It's just very, very, very fun to try to play, even though it's very, very difficult. But
it's a tough one.
Yeah. So
what other ones are on there? I know you got Drive My Car.
Yes, Drive My Car. We actually play that
yesterday, right? Well, not you played it yesterday, but
actually I did play it yesterday at my gig.
Oh, there you go.
But we play that one live sometimes with the band. We got Nowhere Man, Michelle, I'm
Love
Looking
that song.
Through You, In My Life. It's just a lot of good ones on here.
So many good ones.
Yes, so many good ones on here.
Michelle is one of like the craziest. I bet that was such a crazy song to come out at the time.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So like strange, but like creepy and also sexy at the same time.
Yes.
It's like
Paul
bizarre.
definitely Paul definitely has a way of making music like that every now and then. So that song, along with the others on this album, are just what makes this my favorite Beatles album.
I love the back cover of it.
Yes,
as
the
well.
back cover's dope
all
too.
Of them.
Yeah.
So Yesterday was not on that one.
Yesterday's not on it.
Which one is that on?
I think that's on Help.
Oh, okay.
If I'm correct.
Help is like the earliest album of theirs that I can say like I like all of them, but like that's the one where I'm like, oh yeah, I can still talk about that.
Yeah.
Before Help, I'm like a little lost, like the, Please Please Me, the first one, and like Meet the Beatles. I couldn't tell you which ones are on those, even though
I wouldn't
listened
be
to them
able
all at
to
least
either.
once.
I think Rubber Soul is where my Beatles knowledge starts.
Pretty
and
much
then
same.
From there on, I can kind of give you a basis of what song is on what album. But
Yeah, you really picked their bridge.
yes,
Like their bridge album. That
and
took them
I think
from,
that's also why it's my favorite. It's just they really tried to do something different, and it sounded great. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, great album. Great
Yeah.
choice.
yes,
But let's get into
yeah, definitely.
Till It's Gone, your newest song that came out
Yes.
April 25th. So it's been, 10, 20 days or so.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
been too long. How are you feeling about the release now that it's out there?
I'm feeling pretty good. I actually did this thing where I've never done it before, but I've seen a lot of other artists do it, where this was one of the 3 new songs that I have for Loverboy, the deluxe version I called Loverboy Forever. And basically I gave everybody on my socials and everybody the choice to pick which one that they liked the best. I thought it was just a interesting way to kind of get everybody involved and feel a little bit of connection with my audience and just my family and friends as well, because I do trust people's judgment. I know not everybody, I can't trust everybody's judgment, but I can trust a lot of people who know me and know my music, know my sound, and kind of know what direction I'm going in. And it was fun because I was at the point where I was like, either of these 3 songs could potentially be a single before I release the deluxe version. So that one was the one that ended up winning.
How did you conduct the survey
I
before
basically,
it was out?
yeah, I ran a poll on Instagram through my stories and my also on, because they now have it on your post where you can do a poll
Right.
below it. So I did that. I gave it about a week for everybody to vote and had a good turnout. Actually, I was expecting like maybe a couple responses.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody really loved this one, and I was actually surprised, just because I had no idea what people would be in the mood for. But yeah, Till It's Gone won, and yesterday was actually the day that Loverboy Forever came out, so I'm kind of just...
Oh, for real?
Yeah, so...
Go stream.
Yeah, Loverboy Forever is out now.
I was like stoked to talk about the one song.
No,
and now
no,
I'm
but
learning
this song...
There's 2 more I should
No,
have been
yes.
listening to.
Till It's Gone, it really just sticks out to me because there's, the old saying, you never know what you have until it's gone. I feel like that's been a lot of my relationships in life. A lot of people don't realize that, I try to be the best friend, best relationship I can be. And sometimes it doesn't work out on the other end. And some people just let you go. And then they realize that, they come crawling back or whatever. And you're like, why are you doing that? Like, you're the one that left. So it's kind of not more of a, F you, but it's more of like a, I know my worth and you didn't. So
Sure.
I'm going to move on, and, you're going to have to deal with the consequences. You made the bed, you sleep in it. So
Yeah,
that's,
it could be a bit of an FU too.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
little bit of both.
yeah. So along with that song and the other 2 tracks, I just feel like it fits in the kind of sound of the whole Loverboy era that I created last year. And I'm really happy with how they came out. I had some, every now and then I'll have some help from friends and stuff and reach out to other producers to try to figure out things. But I went to school for music production, so I kind of have a lot of people that I can reach out to have some help, or like, hey, does this sound weird?
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera. So I really do find a lot of comfort in the pop music sound. But I think, after this, I am ready to kind of take a step into kind of more of a brought back, kind of down to just like acoustic, stripped back kind of thing. But I also don't have a plan for what's next. So
Yeah, you just see where the wind takes
see where
you.
it takes me. Yep.
So these 3 songs, what are the other 2 that just came out?
Yeah. One is called Your Man. I wrote that one for my wife, actually.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out to my wife. she's amazing, and I could not give you enough, I don't have enough time to explain how amazing she is. But I'm literally just a guy who is very in touch with his emotions, and that comes to bite me in the butt a lot. Growing up, I was always told what a man was supposed to be, what a man was supposed to look like, how you're supposed to act, how you're supposed to hide your emotions. And I've learned just in the past 5 years that, you don't have to hold that back in. You can just be your definition of what a man is. Don't have to live exactly by the rules or by the stigma of what, dudes kind of have to be like. So this is kind of like me saying, I'm my own guy, and if you don't rock with it, that's fine. But like, my wife rocks with it, and I'm hers, and she loves me for me, and that's all that matters. At the end of the day, I have a lot of people who judge me behind my back, a lot of people who talk shit to her about me behind my back. So
What the hell?
Yeah,
Name drop right now.
I know. Yeah,
call them out.
Yeah. Nah.
You almost did.
As much as I want to, but. A lot of it has been just growing and learning that it's okay to not be just like the stereotypical version of what a man should be. And I know a lot of us are learning that as we, are trying to break the stigma of mental health with men and stuff. So that one was about that. And then Take Me Away was the other one. It's just a fun like summer song. There's nothing really behind it. It was just a fun song.
Just a bop.
I just felt like it was a perfect song for the summer. But there's not much meat behind that one. It's
Sure,
just a really
that's
fun
okay.
song.
Sometimes the meat is just the fact that it's a good tune.
Yeah,
and that it's a banger.
Exactly. And then I have one more. It's just a remix of one of the songs that one of my
cool.
friends, one of my close friends made. Kind of just gave him free reign, and he took hold of it and made it really, really cool.
Oh, sick.
So yeah, Loverboy Forever streaming now.
Go check
it out.
What made you leave these 3 songs off the full album?
To be honest, I didn't write them until like the end of last year. I kind of was in a spot where like I'm not ready to leave it just yet. But I still want to kind of build upon that, just like give a little bit more so I can just call it quits after that. And so I wrote these and worked on them for a little bit, and I was kind of deciding when I was going to release them. If I was going to wait until the 1-year anniversary, or if I was just going to release them before the summer so I could actually like promote it a little bit at my shows. So ended up just working out to where I just released it, in May, which is yesterday, and it ended up being perfect time because now I can just enjoy the summer, take a little bit time off of recording and stuff, and just figure out what's next.
That's great.
Music-wise, yeah.
And I mean, the album came out last year, so
Yep.
you had a good amount of time for people to sit with it before
Yes.
you started adding these, deluxe songs onto it. What was this experiment like for you? I know you were saying like, oh, you've seen other people do it, but how did you find it?
The experiment meaning like the
Adding like these new songs. I've never done something like
yeah,
that. It does seem like, that's funny you mention it. It does seem like that's happening a lot more nowadays. Like,
a lot more.
My first instance of thinking that was like Brat.
Yeah.
I know 100 Gex did that or a little earlier. And I feel like nowadays, like this is Lorelei, he's doing it. People are putting out deluxe albums, and I know people have done it before, but it almost seems like it's coming back.
Yes. I used to be very much against it just because it felt like, well, in the big music industry, a lot of it is just a cash grab. They put like the songs that just weren't going to be on the album as a little bit of a bonus with some remix or some acoustic versions, and that's about it. But as I've kind of grown up and like realized the importance of just having content out there so people don't lose focus on what you're trying to accomplish, I've learned that it can be a helpful tool if you use it right. So I think I did it in a better way than just putting some 3 discarded songs on a deluxe album. I kind of took a little bit more time and started from scratch, which I think helped a lot.
Yeah. I remember Taylor Swift was doing a version of that.
Oh yeah.
That was getting a little annoying.
Oh yeah. I could
Like
go on
every
about
week
that.
was like a new she just some random word version of this one song on the
Yeah.
album, and like now it's a new midnight other version
Oh,
of
yeah,
this
my-
and one other one, and we're like, it just keeps going.
My wife is a big Swiftie.
Oh wow.
I am.
My apologies. I don't want to upset.
No, you're not gonna upset her. I'm a older Taylor Swift music kind of guy. When I listen to her, I'm not like the biggest fan, but if I had to pick any album of hers, it'd be Red.
Oh, cool.
And that is very controversial in the Swiftie community, but come for me.
Come on.
But she's. I ask her. I don't understand how she can consistently like have this constant just wave of 20, 30 songs come at her every every year or every 2 years. I'm like, that's one of my big things is like, I don't necessarily think that it's needed to have an album with like 30 plus songs. It's so much to digest in such a short period of time, and you lose focus so quickly, and you only have people's attention spans for like 0.5 seconds before you lose it. So, someone like Taylor Swift, she doesn't have to worry about that. But some people like, the small artists like myself, we can't really, bank on that. It's got to be like you have to release it in this kind of format. Otherwise you're going to, lose people's attention and you won't get what you're kind of shooting for. So I've kind of learned that, it's not necessary, but I guess it's necessary for them for like on the money and like business side of things.
Just more and more opportunity for streams.
Yeah.
More and more opportunity to just make more money, which at the end of the day, I forgot, James Blake?
Yeah.
He started this vault.com thing. I don't know if you've heard about that.
I've seen a couple other artists do it where they kind of like make you pay a certain amount of money and
I don't know how I feel about what he's done, like what the thing is, vault.com, but I appreciate the sentiment behind it. And he was like interviewing people to talk about it, and someone was like, just straight up, he's like, I respect any artist who can find a way to make money doing just this.
Yeah.
And that really just made me feel like, like however you have to do it to make a career doing this, like it's hard.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, that's amazing. So I can appreciate like more of these deluxe albums coming out and things like that in order to, keep the hype going, because it's hard. And it is just funny though when you see somebody who's at the top doing it constantly and you're like, but you don't need it. Like you don't need to do that. And it just feels forced on us.
Yes. It feels a lot sometimes like just a lot of noise pollution.
Right.
Just depending on the artist and stuff. It's just like so much at once, and it's like we got to quiet it down a little bit. Can't get too crazy, because then that's when I'm like, there's no need for that. Like I don't want to listen to this. I don't want to listen to this artist if all they're gonna come out with is 30 something song albums or deluxe, like you mentioned. So, but that's just how the world and music is right now.
I did want to ask you about, I think it's worth saying that you produce all of your own songs.
Yeah, I do with a lot of help. I got my music production degree from Full Sail University back in 2022. And have I really used it to its full potential? No, definitely not. And do I rely on help more than I should? Yeah, but a lot of my stuff is 100% homegrown in my house, in my home studio. I love getting to just create and just sit down and see what happens. A lot of what I do is kind of just play around until something sparks. I write a lot in regards to just playing on guitar, sometimes I'll write to specific, like I'll have like a loop playing, and then that'll just spark an idea. A lot of things are just in the moment kind of deal. But yeah, I do find a lot of fun in the production aspect of it. I started tooling around in GarageBand when I was in my senior year of high school. And after that, I made a lot of really crappy music because I didn't know what I was doing. And then as I got a little older, I went online, and I was like, I had took a gap year off of high school, and I was like, I have no idea what I want to do with my life. I know it's going to be music. Don't know what that entails, but I do want it to be music. And so I looked up, I was really starting to get into wanting to perfect my sound on my own rather than having to pay out the butt for, studio fees and stuff like that. And so I decided to enroll and go to Full Sail. It was completely online. Very, very, very helpful in my journey of learning, just around Logic and everything. I had to learn Pro Tools too, but
shout out Logic.
Yeah, I hate Pro Tools. I love Logic.
I wish I could love Pro Tools just because that is what everyone uses.
Yeah,
but Logic Gang is where it's at.
Yeah. I love Logic. It's really what they kind of just about 60% of the time had us working on. So
that's what you're working on?
That's what, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I can use Pro Tools, but I honestly have not used it since I graduated. So it would be a hot mess for a little bit. I'd have to probably relearn a lot of it.
Right.
But Logic Pro, I know it like the back of my hand at this point. And so I graduated in 22 and kind of recorded my very first like complete just me album in 2023 called When I Close My Eyes. And that year and that album just was so it was insane. It was a big high in my life, and it was hard to come down from it.
In what ways?
I've always struggled with depression and anxiety. My dad passed away in 2014 from pancreatic cancer. Uh-huh. So a lot of that has been very hard for me to deal with in regards to not having a father figure in my life at such a young age. I was raised a lot by women. And I think that's a lot of the reason why I'm so in touch with my emotions and a little bit more in touch with the feminine side rather than just the big, strong masculinity side of it. I try my best to kind of balance it out because I feel like everybody needs to be, in touch with their emotions. Especially, in a world like we're living in right now, because there's so many people who are struggling with mental health and anxiety, like myself. And so I always struggle with, having these high highs in my life, like 2023 was, and then coming down from it. I was not prepared for the kind of avalanche that my mind and everything would go through. I just started therapy last July, which has helped a lot.
Yeah.
But in this past year, I've learned a lot about myself in regards to what I kind of need to let go of and what I kind of need to keep in my life to kind of keep it sustainable. I'm actually like just a couple weeks sober.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you. I quit cold turkey, which was very, very hard. This has been like the worst 2 weeks of my life, but I am very proud of myself for sticking with it. And, I feel a lot better and my mind is a lot clearer. And I'm actually going back and getting, some new medication next week to try to figure out how to kind of battle my mind and try to make a lot of peace with the battlefield.
Sure.
But when I got into 2024 and starting to think about, what's next, Loverboy came at a time where I was listening to a lot of pop music, specifically Justin Timberlake. I don't know why. It was just a season of my life where I was just listening to JT. But that just sparked something. I remember the exact time it was January. I was in a parking lot of Movie Tavern, and I was listening to his 2020 album, and something just sparked, and I was like, I want a sound like this, and I want an album to just kind of be revolved around this pop world, and just something that I would want to listen to, not necessarily what everybody else wants to listen to, something more for me rather than for everybody else. I've always been a big lover. When I have relationships, friendships, whatever, I dig deep. I've been hurt by so many people who I pour into so much. It's like pouring into a bottomless cup. And that has hurt me in a lot of ways, but it's also made me stronger in knowing who my real people are and who are in my corner till, the day I die. So a lot of that has been very formative, in not just this album, but just how I view myself and my self-worth, and just trying to love myself again, because that's been the hardest thing when you're dealing with grief, when you're dealing with depression. It's really hard when a lot of people who are in my life when my dad was on his deathbed are no longer in my life anymore. People that told me that they'd be here wherever, whenever they needed me, they'd be there. And then now here we are 10 years later, and I have like 2 people left, including family. A lot of my dad's side kind of just abandoned me and my mom and my sister. Kind of, not all of them. I would like to say that, because I don't want them looking at this and being like, yeah. But it's been a lot of hard tension between family and friends and relationships, and I've had to kind of conquer that through therapy and through trying to figure out things. Trying to slowly find ways to not keep myself down in that, because I don't like being in that deep drowning feeling. I like to have my head above water, and I'm slowly learning to surround myself with people that make my nervous system feel completely calm. And I've learned a lot about family, and like, although you're born with the family that you have, but the people that stick with you and love you are your real family.
You get to choose the people
exactly,
you surround yourself.
You don't get to
with,
choose what family you were born into, but you do get to choose the family that you get to love. So, I'm sorry if I'm going too deep or anything.
You're good.
I just, it's been a lot of learning and trying to figure that out, and a lot of that is expressed in my music. And I try to keep it a little bit not too open, because I do like to keep myself reserved for the right people, and because people can take advantage of that, unfortunately. But I will say that it has been very, very helpful in my healing journey, just with my mental health and trying to figure out things with grief, with the loss of my dad and stuff. So it's an everyday learning curve, and I am working on it, and I'm just proud I'm still here.
Yeah, dude. Well, music it's amazing how much it can really help us in the, just in the creation of it.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching this guy. Do you know Anthony Fantano?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm a huge fan. Some people don't love him, but I love him. And he was talking about, he does these like segments called like Let's Argue or Let's Agree, and which is just somebody saying something that he agrees with. And somebody said something like, art, even if nobody listens to it, has, or even if only one person listens to it and enjoys it, that art has value.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'll do you one further. If nobody listens to it, but the creator who makes it gets something out of it and enjoys the process of it, or feels something good because of that, that art still inherently has value. And I'm like, damn, that's so true. Like, even if, you know, there's some demo that you've made or some song you've written that you've never even recorded and nobody else hears, it doesn't mean that there's no value to it, because it has probably affected you in some way, and can even serve as inspiration for something else later down the line that would not have existed if you hadn't written that one definitely. Thing. And it's amazing how therapeutic music can be and creating music can be.
Yeah, and I think that's probably been the best thing for me. I'm not really great with speaking a lot, but I do find a lot of comfort in just writing music, and that's how I get my thoughts and my words down. And whether or not that is ever 100% officially heard into the world, a lot of it is just so I can work on that healing aspect of myself. Sometimes these songs that I write don't even get shown or never see the light of day, but they're more for me.
Absolutely. Is there a song you're most proud of that's out there?
Most proud of? There's a song I wrote in 2017. I wrote it for a friend. She was doing the senior project. And she asked if I could write and record a song to kind of be playing in her short film that she was doing. And I told her, yeah, I would love to. And so I wrote this song called Ghost. And it's kind of become like a favorite of just really anybody who has told me that they've listened to my music. The one song that's always come up is Ghost. And it's just a song about being thankful that you're better than who you were yesterday. I know a lot of us struggle with our shadows or our ghosts in our closets, and kind of moving on from the past and getting to a better tomorrow. So that song specifically sticks with me. Just it's one of those that I'll always probably love the most out of all of them. I have a lot of songs, and I know everybody says they're like my kids, but that one is like the one that I pinpoint a lot of my not just success, but a lot of things that like people will kind of come up to me and be like, Ghost helped me through this time, or Ghost helped me through this. And my wife is an author, so she used it in one of her books, and that helped it a lot, because she's got a bigger following than I do, just because she's incredible. Everybody go check out Emma Miller. She's an author and she's amazing.
Emma Miller, what are her books?
She got 3 books right now. She got it's called The List of Things, The Pros and Cons of Us, and then The Rules of You and Me. And it's like a little trilogy that she got. It's called the Checklist Romance Series. Cool. And they're little romance sports books, but they're really good. She's an amazing author. I'm very, very proud of her. So proud of her. We're actually working on a project right now together. Cool. Which is actually going to be really, really cool. She's rewriting one of her old books that kind of got her a little bit more popular on Wattpad. And a lot of it is music orientated. So what she does is she usually has like a playlist at the beginning of the book, and in certain chapters or certain points in the book, they'll have a pinpoint to play this song, because it'll be like you're kind of in a movie in your head, and there'll be background music playing while you're reading this. And every book she's added a song of mine, just because cool. It's the family business. I mean, we're both trying to make this dream happen. We're 2 starving artists just trying to make it work. So I'm always so super grateful. I wouldn't be who I am without her, but she's incredible author, and I'm very excited to be working on this next project with her. Hopefully coming out sometime next year, but we'll see.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool, dude. Yeah. I've never heard of something like that. I really like that idea.
Yeah, it's very unique. When we were talking about it, she actually asked me, because originally it was a bunch of, songs by like Harry Styles and like Taylor Swift and stuff that fit in that kind of world. But, when we're moving into a original thing, she's like, I can't use that music because it's all licensed. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. She was like, so how about you write the whole thing? And I was like, okay, I'll do that. So I'm about like 6 or 7 songs deep into the writing process. It's kind of just us playing cat and mouse, trying to figure out like what works best for here. What works best for here. So it's been fun, but it's probably one of the most challenging things I've done so far. But it's going to be very rewarding. I'm very sure. So
that is a really cool collaboration. I also wanted to ask you. You know, you mentioned earlier you have a lot of songs, which is true, and that's why I remember feeling. I don't know if surprised is the word, but when I went to go see your Spotify, I was like, oh, shit, this guy's like 3 albums and like a bunch of singles, a lot of stuff to dig into.
Yeah.
And when you have so much stuff, I feel like what I love about that is it shows you've grown in a lot of different ways. You've learned a lot of lessons. You've tried a lot of things. What do you feel like are some key things you've learned over the few years of releasing music?
Some of the key things that I have learned is to not take it too seriously. I used to be so picky on what I recorded and what I, made. I've kind of let that slide out the door at this point because I'm just more focused on having fun. But there is, a seriousness to it in the fact that it's got to sound good. People aren't going to just listen to, just anything. So I've found a lot of growing in the fact that, I'm proud of myself that I'm able to do a lot of this on my own, but I'm also glad that I can lean on others if I need to, because it doesn't always have to be like a me thing. Sometimes I'll have my guitarist send me some licks, and I'll add that into a song, or that'll become a new song and stuff like that. And it's been a lot of trial and error, honestly. I have a lot of music that I've just completely taken off of Spotify that were in the earlier days of me learning that just sound like complete crap, because I don't want people hearing that. I honestly didn't. And I'm very happy with what I have now. Everywhere on the streaming platforms, I feel like it's the perfect kind of array of music of just me. It's like if anybody needed to get a deep dive into my head, go stream my entire discography, and I promise you in a few days you'll kind of understand it. But so yeah, it's kind of been a lot of trial and error, but in a good way, for sure.
But don't take it too seriously.
Yes, but don't take it too seriously.
It is a funny balance of like, yeah, it's almost like you don't take certain parts of it, or know when to take it seriously.
Yes.
And know when to just enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Like, even like with instrumentation, or I don't know, I think about in the studio, there can be times where you have a very rigid idea of how the song should turn out.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can be mistaken for intention.
Yeah.
I guess. Like, you have such an intention, but maybe you're a little too laser focused, or you have your blinders on that you don't see the possibilities of what it could be.
Yeah.
Whereas if you let loose, you let your grip loose a little bit, you'll allow the song to kind of tell you what it is.
Yeah.
And in that way, it's like, if you're taking it so serious, it's more of like because you're too scared to let loose of some control.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like a lot of it is trying to just find where I'm having fun, because if it comes to a day where I'm completely not having fun and it feels like a 9-to-5 desk job, that's where I've kind of crossed the line, because I don't want it to feel so monotonous and kind of just feel like it's a cycle every single day.
Yeah.
I work a lot in the nighttime, so in the morning from like 10 to like 3-ish, 4-ish, I'm always just coming up with ideas. That's where a lot of this has come from. It's a lot of just, I've had so much time on my hands because I did go to school online, so I didn't have to go anywhere. Mm-hmm. So a lot of that was took a big role in it. Just having so much time on my hands, especially during the pandemic where you couldn't do nothing. I was like, I'm just going to record. And that's kind of where my rebrand kind of happened, where I stepped in this new sound and kind of lived in it for a little while now. But I've just, I just want to have fun with music. I don't want it to become a bore, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I think that makes a lot of sense to me.
Awesome.
Well, Levi, let's take this over to the last 5.
Let's do it.
Where you got this little magic bowl here.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to pick out 5 questions.
Oh, yeah.
Let me give it a little zhuzh. Sometimes the same ones end up on top. So you're just going to pick a little 5 out there. You can do one at a time.
Okay, sweet. Let's do this.
Number 1 is...
Number 1. 2 artists you want to see collab. 2 artists I want to see collab. Ooh, 2 artists. Dang, that's hard.
Oh, yeah, there's more where that came from. A lot of hard ones in there.
I don't know. Honestly, I would love to see... man, this is really, really tricky. There's so many artists I love. I'm just going to go ahead and say an easier answer. And I'll say, like, I would love to see... Oh, I don't know. Can I come back to this one?
Yes, of
I
course.
will think about it a little bit more.
That is kind of one
That
after
one's
we
so
talk
tricky.
about other things for a little bit, it might come to you.
Best live show you've seen. I'm a big concert junkie, so I go to a lot of shows. I've seen a lot of people. I've seen a lot. And my best live show, I'll give it to... Tenacious D.
Whoa. That was not expected.
That was not expected, but I'm a big Tenacious D fan. Jack Black is my spirit animal. And
Sick.
We got to go see them at the Roxy in 2019, and we were front row barricade. It was just the best night ever.
Wow.
I love Tenacious D. It's funny. It's just if you know who Jack Black is, then you know how you could imagine how the band would be.
Right.
And that's exactly how it is, and that's why I've seen them twice now, and I can say that they are the best band I've seen live.
Crazy.
Yeah. So
that was
so awesome.
So I would have in a million years never guessed that.
Yeah, that one definitely came out of left field, but definitely the best show.
Good answer.
Yeah.
All right. Number 3.
Number 3. Oh, this one just
There you go. Just
screamed
popped out.
at me. In the studio or playing live? Playing live 100%, especially with a band. It's just the adrenaline, the vibe, the fact that I don't have to just rely on myself. I can lean back on 3 other dudes who kind of have my back. That's my favorite thing. If I could do full band shows more often, I definitely would. But unfortunately, that's not the way that the cookie crumbles. So
Yeah.
I do love
Full
playing
band shows
live.
are great.
Yeah, they are. So definitely playing live.
Cool.
Definitely playing live.
All right. Number 4.
All right, I'll go back to this 2
Okay,
artists you
cool.
want to see
All right,
collab.
cool.
I'm gonna say I would love to see a Justin and Justin
Whoa.
collab. A Justin Timberlake, Justin Bieber. I don't know why that just sounds so. My pop heart wants to see that happen. I know it might not even be good, but that's
worth a shot, though.
It's worth a shot. And they're 2 of my favorite pop artists that I've kind of leaned on in this pop world. So
Yeah.
there we go.
What's
2
going
artists,
on
Justin and Justin.
with the Biebs lately?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Sometimes he's crashing out, and then the next thing you know, he was just in the studio for a week, and it's like, okay, so I think he's a little.
My girlfriend's been keeping me up to date with all the Bieber Instagram stuff. She's like, I don't know what the fuck he's going on about right now.
Justin, it's funny. I was his album My World 2.0 was like the first secular album, non-Christian album that I purchased on my own. Yeah. So I've always been a Justin Bieber fan, and I will be till the day I die. Least favorite song / album from your favorite artist?
Tough one.
Least favorite song / album from your favorite artist. See, I have so many favorite artists, but I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to pick my favorite band, Need to Breathe. My least favorite album by them, I probably would say Caves, which is their more recent album. Just not that it's a bad album. It's just, sometimes when you get into the sound, a specific sound, and you just try too many things at once, it just doesn't mesh well, or it sounds too easy or too top 40 or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And even though they're like a southern rock, kind of like Americana folky kind of thing, they have leaned more into what is more popular, but
I've never listened to them.
they're so good. They've gotten a lot of their success from the Christian music radio.
Right.
They're not a Christian band, but
that's interesting.
they
Because that was my first thought. Was like, oh, they're a Christian band.
yeah,
right?
they're not a Christian band necessarily. They just got a lot of their success on Christian radio, kind of like
Switchfoot.
yeah, Switchfoot, Lifehouse kind of deal.
Lifehouse.
yeah.
Hey, I'd like some Lifehouse.
Yeah,
I'd like
yeah.
some Switchfoot.
Yeah, me too. Switchfoot. I actually saw them open up for Need to Breathe back in like 2021. So,
Oh, cool.
Which was net. It was very
I saw
nuts.
Switchfoot back in like 2013,
Yeah,
2014.
I've seen them plenty of times. They're great too, but Need to Breathe has just been one of those bands that have been very formative in my songwriting, and I've got to meet them a couple times, and
Oh, cool.
it's just really good guys, and great music, great voice. Lead singer's name's Bear. He's got a great killer. Just you'd have to hear it to understand,
Okay.
but when you do, you'd get it. But yeah, awesome.
Nice.
One more.
Yeah, was that 4? So this is
Yep.
this is the last one.
Last one. Let's make it good. Dream 3 Band Bill. Ooh. Dream 3 Band Bill. I'm gonna say. Yeah. I'll just stick with my gut. I'll say it'd be very not likely, but I'd love to see Tenacious D, Need to Breathe, and Queen
Nice.
with Adam Lambert.
Yeah.
Just 3 of my top favorite bands: Queen, Tenacious D, and Need to Breathe. I don't know. It'd be so sweet to take that in and get to see that live. That'd be like a never to be ever happen, but I would love that. I would love
That's
it.
the
It'd be
point of the
such a
question,
dream.
you know?
Exactly. Yeah, it is a dream.
You get to pick.
It's a big dream, but a dream that I'll
A dream
keep
that's
dreaming.
worth dreaming.
A dream worth dreaming, for sure.
All right,
sure.
Levi Ransom, dude, thanks for coming on the pod.
Yes, thank
It
you.
was awesome to chat with you. Go
Yes.
through those questions at the end. Everybody needs to listen to Till It's Gone.
Yeah.
The deluxe version
Yes.
of Loverboy.
Yes,
Out
please,
now, literally,
please.
as we're recording this.
Yes.
So yeah, thanks again for coming on.
Thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure, and thank you so much for taking my podcast virginity.
Anytime. And you can be you can be on the podcast too. We can take your virginity as well.
Yeah, taking virginities left and right.
All right, dude. Thanks again for
Thank
coming
you
on.
so much.
See ya.
On that note, with Parker Whirling.